it's a big setback for imprisoned Sahara chief Subrata Roy, as the Supreme Court has told the market regulator SEBI to sell Sahara properties after failed attempts by the Sahara group for nearly 2 years. Arun Nair joins in with all the details. Arun, does this mean Subrata Roy's jail terms just got longer?
Well, in fact, it's a big development as far as this Sahara case is concerned. He has been languishing in jail for over 2 years now. March 4, 2014 was the date when he was jailed for contempt of court. But now the court has directed SEBI market regulator to go ahead and sell the properties, 86 of which, title deeds of which are lying with the market regulator. The court has given that nod. Remember, initially the market regulator was hesitant in conducting the auction. It was saying that it wasn't an expert body in conducting auction, and it was shying away from selling Sahara properties in this case. Remember, Sahara has been saying that the worth of these properties is around 40,000 crores, which the SEBI has been contesting, saying it's roughly amounts to 20,000 crore. But SEBI had been shying away from selling these properties, but now the direction has come from the Supreme Court, which has said that it will ask SEBI to employ an expert agency and under the supervision of Justice B.N. Agarwal, who was the supervisor in refund process of Sahara investors. Now this money could be realized through SEBI, which is going to go ahead and sell those properties, title deeds of which are lying with it. Remember, the property scenario in the country with Sahara has brought about that topic and had said that SBI had also tried to conduct an auction for Kingfisher House belonging to Vijay Mallya. It didn't go well. The auction was unimpressive in the sense that the property wasn't sold. So they were raising that issue that the property scenario in the country is not really good in this case. So the court said that the 90% of the circle rate of the area should be the threshold above which these properties should be sold. Any property which receives a bid below 90% should get a clearance from the Supreme Court. Now also in this case, another takeaway is that Sahara is not interested in selling the Ambi Valley property. It also came up during the arguments. SEBI said that they have a large land bank in Ambi Valley. If they sell the Ambi Valley property, they'll realize the entire amount which it owes to the investors. Now Sahara is not interested in selling that property. That is what it has told the court. And also it has said that it was trying the deal with the Qatar government of Grosvenor House Hotel and its overseas hotel. That deal has also fallen apart. So essentially they were saying that nobody wants to buy their property because their owner is in jail and the property scenario is not really good in the country. Now the Supreme Court has directed SEBI to go ahead and sell Sahara properties to realize at least the amount to secure bail of its chief, Subrata Sahara.
Okay, let's also get in Vijay Iyer. And Vijay, highlight for us how difficult it's going to be for SEBI to find buyers now for this property.
To be honest, SEBI never wanted to do this particular aspect of what Supreme Court has told today, because SEBI was always clear. They were a regulator and they always just wanted to ensure that Sahara pays back the amount which is due. But now with Supreme Court clearly passing the order asking market regulator SEBI to ensure they sell Sahara properties and then recover the money, clearly it's going to be a challenging task for market regulator SEBI. Primary reason being SEBI in itself doesn't have a dedicated arm for doing an auction of such a large scale. B, the other aspect would be of valuations. Now the question is, when it comes to these properties, the valuations are always the biggest challenge, and we all know how things are, particularly when it comes to Sahara, because there are too many third-party rights being created. When we have been speaking to SEBI in the last, say, 3 to 4 years when this case has been going on, the biggest challenge has been on the title deeds, because clearly the law says that 3 preceding title deeds need to be present before any auction of such huge scale happens of such properties. And when it comes to that, clearly the paperwork of Sahara indeed is questionable. There are a lot of issues when it comes to title deeds. So indeed it's going to be a challenging task for SEBI in itself to find an expert and do the auctions. But now the fact is that SEBI will have to do this with Supreme Court passing this order.
Okay, R.S. Luna of Alliance Corporate Lawyers also joins in on the phone line, and that's the point, Mr. Luna, that I'd like to bring up with you. It's going to be a fairly complex process, all in all. A huge setback, of course, for Subrata Roy, but run us through what you make of this move as a whole.
Well, I mean, sale of assets could have been the logical next step. But the point here is that the sale of assets is not going to be that an easy task. We know the case, for instance, in case of Golden Forest, since 2002, the assets are being sold by a committee constituted by the Supreme Court under former judge of a High Court. And that committee still today is not able to dispose of those assets and all that. Even Supreme Court constituted committees are there of former judge of Supreme Court and so on in case of PSCL and PGFL. But in all these cases, I mean, the process is so complex. When you go for selling the assets, getting the good title and marketable and getting the clients for purchasing those assets is a really big task. And as far as SEBI is concerned, I know that this is a bigger challenge for SEBI because SEBI till now has been only saying that we are not in the business of disposing of or selling the assets. It is for the court to find somebody who can perform this function. I don't know how SEBI will be able to perform this function itself because it's a very complex job and is always better if there's some independent third party who are expert in this field and they take up the job.
Mr. Luna, Vijay here coming in here at this point of time. If I could ask you, as you're rightly saying, SEBI doesn't have the inherent infrastructure to do these sort of auctions and raise the money. But now the fact is, as you're mentioning, Supreme Court has given an order to market regulator SEBI to try and recover this money by selling the assets. As you're saying, how easy or difficult it's going to be even outsource, say appoint and a third party company to ensure that the valuations are in place and then the auctions happen, because the biggest challenge here is not also about valuations but also about the title deeds of the properties that have been attached of Sahara, because that always has been the issue. We also know Sahara itself has not been able to sell a couple of its own properties for the last 2 to 3 years now.
Oh, you're right. I mean, title is one big issue, and it's not only getting the title deeds, because there will be always other claimants. For instance, there will be lenders to that Sahara group who will be having a mortgage on those properties. There may be disputes with some other people who are having claim over those properties, and so on. So, I mean, when you get into that process, then you find that there are a lot of issues and the property is not easily available to be sold. So for at least the people concerned with this process, they have to really work hard, and it's a time-consuming process. It doesn't happen in a day or so. So I think it's going to be a big issue for valuation is one issue, because all the assets which will be going to sell, nobody wants to sell in distress sale, and there are the people who want this to be sold in distress sale. So those kind of issues also crop up, that what is the fair valuation at which ultimately you can sell those assets.
Mr. Luna, wanted to just understand now, what is the next step for Subrata Roy? Is it that the money that will be recovered from the sale of these properties can be used to release him from prison?
You see, the whole object of this order, in my view, is that the investors should be paid off. And because Mr. Subrata Roy was not able to sell these assets and pay these investors, that is why he was being kept in behind bars. And now, in case, assuming for a while, which is a very difficult task, SEBI is able to sell these assets, then I think if the investors are paid off, the logical step is that he should also be released.
Once again, if I could ask you, this whole controversy began with SEBI claiming that Subrata Roy has to refund back X amount, running into thousands of crores, back to crores of investors. But the fact is, even in the last 1.5 to 2 years, SEBI has been putting out advertisements at regular intervals. As we know, the process of a form available for refund is available at SEBI's website. But hardly there have been any investor who have come forward. Till now, if my understanding is right, hardly not even say close to 500 crores has been able to be disbursed by market regulator SEBI. So in that sense, clearly, is this amount more than one way is not going to go anywhere and to the consolidated fund, because till date there have not been any investors who have come forward for claiming any money that Subrata Roy owns them or has defaulted by the Sahara group.
I agree with you. That is a peculiar situation here, unlike in case of PSCL, PGFL, other cases where the investors are there to get back the money. In this case, probably the investors are not visible. But if I remember correctly, this situation has been considered by the Honorable Court in some of the hearings, and where it was probably the view that in any case, this is the liability of the company. This company has to pay this money, and in case the investors do not come forward to take this money, probably this money will be kept with the government of India, but this will not go back to the company. So in other words, the company is under absolute liability to discharge this obligation, whether the investors come forward or they do not come forward.
Mr. Luna, thank you so much for joining in with your legal expertise. And Vijay, thanks for joining in and giving us all of those latest details on the big developing story with respect to Sahara. And the latest being that SEBI has asked Sahara to sell their properties.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.